In this video, I'm going to be talking about the cons and pros of going to law school. So we're going to jump right into it, starting with the cons. The first con of going to law school is that it is expensive. Tuitions can run into the 60s of thousands of dollars just per, I think, semester, if not year. But there are many different law schools of different cost prices. And some people will say that, you should only go to the top 15 law schools. And as much as I understand that sentiment, sometimes it makes more sense to go an economic route, because at the end of the day, you're still graduating with the same Juris Doctorate degree as a person who goes to, a top 15 school. So I would say that obviously there are reasons to go to top tier schools, but just talking about from a pure financial perspective, law school can be very pricey. And so that is a reason to not, or that's a con, I guess. So another con is that it takes a lot of time. Law school is traditionally 3 years, if not 4 years long. So it could just be a lot of your life. You have to be willing to commit to that time. If you're not willing to commit to that time, I would say that that's something that, maybe you should not go law school. So because that is a con. And you have very little control of your schedule as well, right? So that is a con. Another con is that there are a bunch of dorks in law school. And I don't mean the good type of dorks, right? Because there are cool dorks. I'm talking about the worst type of dorks, right? The type of people who I don't even want to I'm trying to be careful with what I say, but some of the just most socially uncomfortable people you'll have to deal with go to law school. People who are not that cool in undergrad or not that cool in high school, and they're still trying to be cool. And so they just obviously I came into law school a little bit older, so didn't really care about much of that, but it just is annoying to have to be around some of these dorks. So that is a con. Number 4 con is that there are mandatory classes for a lot of law school. The first year, you won't get to choose your classes at all. Depending on which law school you go to, you may have some additional requirements moving forward. And so I would say at least half the classes you take while in law school over the 3 years, you will not get to choose. They'll be kind of chosen for you, if you will. And so that is a con. And the 5th con is that I believe that law school is extremely outdated, at least in terms of the way it's taught, in my opinion. I know it's kind of like a big critique, but really what I am getting at is we have ChatGPT, right? Which is an AI chatbot that allows you to ask it any question and it'll spit out an answer. If you haven't heard of this, you should look into it, right? But these tools are not allowed in law school. And so my complaint is that a lot of what is happening in the academic process is not with the times in terms of technology, right? And I think that that's just a relic of the educational institutions, if you will. And so law school is a little bit outdated in that sense, in my opinion. So getting on to the pros now, right? One of the pros of law school is the time it takes, in my opinion, right? You get 3 years, depending on your life situation. Maybe you're not working during these 3 years. Maybe you're working just a little bit. But I always believe that going to school and getting an education is a privilege, right? And so you're privileged to have this 3-year time frame that you can take out loans to live and really pursue academics and intellectual work. Not a lot of people have that luxury. And so I would say that's one of the pros. And then also the schedule, right? I mean, had that as a con, but it's also a pro. It is, for some people, extremely beneficial to have a routine schedule in something that they're held accountable to, because it allows them to operate smoothly. And so these same things that are cons can also be pros, depending on how you look at it. It's all about your perspective, right? The second pro is that law school produces a hard skill, and it is a terminating degree. What do I mean by this? A hard skill. So a lot of kids, they'll graduate from high school and maybe they'll go get a trade job, right? They'll learn woodworking or welding or electronic appliances, HVAC, right? These sort of hard skills, if you will. And in my opinion, getting a Juris Doctorate is also a hard skill, because the moment that you graduate with that degree and you get licensed, you're able to practice law. So that's a skill. You are instantly able to provide value to humans. And so in that way, a Juris Doctorate is a hard skill, and that is a pro. It's also a terminating degree, right? If you go and get a bachelor's degree, it's not really terminating. Maybe you could make an argument for some engineering degrees are terminating, because, you get a degree in aerospace engineering, you probably don't need to go get a master's in aerospace engineering or a PhD in aerospace engineering just to practice in the industry. But yeah, a Juris Doctorate is a terminating degree, and I measure that, it kind of, I guess, industry specific, but I think that's one of the pros of a Juris Doctorate. Another pro, this is the third pro, and this is just, again, very personality dependent, but you often hear people refer to your law degree as a golden ticket. And this is very much dependent on the person, because just because you have a Juris Doctorate degree does not mean that you're going to be rich. But having a Juris Doctorate degree, I submit, in most cases, does mean you will not be poor, right? You will at least be able to have a comfortable life. You'll be able to get a job that pays a decent wage, provides benefits, hopefully. And so you won't be on the lower end of economic life, and that's a hard place to be. So I would say that that's kind of what's meant by golden ticket, if you will. But more so, if you're a salesman, right? And I mean that in the term if you are a salesman at heart, which for those of you who are unfamiliar with my channel, I started off in solar panel sales. Some of my first videos was me talking about selling residential solar panels, right? I believe that if you are an entrepreneur and you are a salesman, a law degree is a golden ticket for you, because you will always be able to sell your services. Hopefully you will always be able to sell your services. And so in that way, you can create a living for yourself. And, with sales, you are in control of your income, right? That's the whole point of being a salesman, and why it's such a lucrative career for some. And so, yeah, that's that kind of golden ticket, if you will. The fourth pro is that you get to dress nice. You have a reason to dress nice. Some people like to, dress up, and they have no reason to be dressing up. And I think that this is foolishness. But when you're an attorney, obviously you go to court, you have to look nice. My wardrobe has increased dramatically over the last 3 years, just in terms of growing up. I got more button downs, I got suits, I go and get tailored, buy some nice shoes. So if you like to dress up, you like to dress nice, you like fashion, that is a pro of being an attorney. And then the last pro, and I say this tongue in cheek, is career safety, right? I say it tongue in cheek because, and also status. But a lot of people will say, oh, we don't need lawyers, robots are going to come and replace lawyers, blah, blah, blah. I agree that a lot of that will happen, right? A lot of legal processes will become automated, and technology will disrupt the law. But I do believe that people who have a Juris Doctorate will always be needed in society, simply for their skills of critical reading, analysis, and writing. And these are applicable in many different industries. You do not have to be a practicing lawyer. And this skill is still very useful. And then also status. What I mean by that is having that Juris Doctorate degree, people defer to you in many circumstances because of the degree, right? They assume that you know what you're talking about. They assume that you're able to provide value to them, that you're able to help them in some ways. And so I think that that's just a pro, right? It's just that instant sort of respect, like, oh, he's an attorney, so I guess he probably knows what he's talking about, even if it's not true. Yeah, so that's my pros and cons. Hopefully this video was interesting. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what other type of videos you guys would like, what would be helpful to you. And then also check out my TikTok and Instagram. Those probably popped up in the beginning, but they're also in the description below. And so see you guys in the next video. Hope this one was useful. Peace.